So now, what we're going to do is apply some of this dealer model apparatus that we've gotten good at, okay, to this. These are dealers here, okay, and so let's think about how we can use our dealer model to think about the economics of this situation. Okay. And I just refresh your memory a little bit. When we're talking about exchange rates, so let's just think that this deficit dealer here is the United States, just for example, okay, and the Bank of England, that's England here. So in the gold standard, just to refresh your memory about that, we think of the dollar has a mint par against gold. The dollar equals X ounces of gold. This is just repeating from 2 lectures ago, just reminding you of the notation. And we think of the pound sterling is Y ounces of gold. Okay? And so we think of the exchange rate at time 0 is, and I'm quoting exchange rates as pounds per dollar. That's my convention in this course. I try to be consistent with that. That is going to be X over Y. Okay, so the ratio of the mint pars, okay, is what you would think the exchange rate is between the pound and the dollar. Okay, the exchange rate under a gold standard comes from the fact that each of these currencies has a mint par. Well, that means that they also have a mint par ratio between each other. Okay, and it's X over Y. Okay, that just in that notation. But that doesn't mean the exchange rate is not necessarily exactly equal to that, because what holds that exchange rate in place is the movement of gold. And well, it costs something for gold to move. And so I 2 lectures ago, again, I said that in fact what you're going to get is that the exchange rate is going to be greater than or less than X over Y minus delta and X over Y plus delta. Okay, where delta is determined by the cost of shipping gold back and forth. Okay, so that even if the exchange rate moves a little bit away from the mint par ratio, there's no arbitrage to snap it back. Okay, because the costs of moving the gold. Okay, why am I emphasizing this? I mentioned, when I mentioned this 2 times ago, I said there's a trainer model in the background here, okay, and so now we're going to see what that model is, okay. This is like an outside spread, and the foreign exchange dealers are doing business inside that spread. Okay, so now let's just see how this works. So our dealer model, okay, always has, so we can put here X over Y. Okay, so that's this is exchange rate on this axis. Okay, and I'm putting the mint par ratio here, and saying that there's going to be a spread X over Y plus delta up here, and here X over Y minus delta. Okay. And what I'm going to assert is that we can think of our dealer model like this. Okay. And let's say that we are right here, because I'm going to talk about the deficit country. The US is a deficit country, and the dealers, you can see, are in a position where they are buying domestic currency and selling international currency. So they're long the domestic currency. They're taking on liquidity risk, right? Because they're losing reserves. Okay, they're taking on liquidity risk in doing this. Okay, so we're long liquidity risk here. By being long the dollar. And short the international currency. This is sort of meant to jog you out of your notion that somehow the dollar is the world currency. Okay, I'm making it here the deficit country, and the world currency is the pound. Okay, so that we aren't falling into sloppy habits of thought in imagining that somehow God planned it that the dollar is the world reserve currency. It certainly was not the case in 1873, and that's where we are right now. Okay? So what am I showing here? I'm showing that the dealer is moving the quotes, is moving the exchange rate quotes within these bounds, okay, within these bounds, and if his customers are asking him to sell pound sterling and take on domestic currency positions, he says, I'll do that, but only if the dollar is depreciated, you know, if I can get the dollars at a cheap price. Okay? This quoting convention, pounds over dollars, means that a lower number means the dollar is worth less. Okay? So the dollar is depreciating, the dollar is falling in value in order to encourage the dealer to take this position. That the dealer is quoting this buy-sell spread here, and it's willing to take on a larger position, okay, and that's what it would be for the deficit country. This trade that I'm showing here is about moving in that direction in the diagram. Okay, so this is just taking our dealer model and thinking about foreign exchange dealers as being dealers, and so they're willing to take on exchange rate risk, but only if they're paid for it. If they're paid for it in expectation, so they're willing to accumulate more dollars with the thought that, you know, that maybe the dollar will in the future snap back. Okay, and when it snaps back, I'm going to sell them at a higher price. Okay, so I'm buying these dollars at a low price. Hopefully, I'm selling them at a high price here. Now, remember, why is the dealer willing to do this? Well, they're looking for profit, but they're also concerned about risk. What if the dollar, in fact, keeps going down? You know, then I'm a fool. I've just bought all these inventories and I'm now in trouble and I'm going to lose all my money. Okay? But it's not going to keep going down because there's an outside spread here where the central bank, you can take your domestic currency to the central bank, okay, and get gold for it and send that to England instead. Okay, so this is the point, that the central bank in this country here, the U.S. central bank, okay, is standing because of it's a gold standard, and the U.S. central bank is saying the dollar is equal to X ounces of gold. Okay, so if you wind up with too many dollars, these are dollars in my little example here. Okay, you can always take them to the U.S. central bank. It's not such a good example because the U.S. didn't have a central bank in 1873. You can always take them to the central bank and get gold for them, and so that puts a floor on this risk that you're taking, right? Because this is a price. You can always convert your dollar inventories into gold, and gold is the international currency. You can get more notes, you know, with gold. You can send the gold to England and get sterling notes for it. That's the sense in which the gold points are a kind of outside spread for this dealer. Okay, and this here is the inside spread. So if you were living in this time, in this world, the quotes you would see, the prices you would see quoted by the dealers, okay, in foreign exchange are these numbers here. Okay, they're going to say I'm willing to buy and sell dollars at these prices here. Okay, but everyone knows what the mint pars are, and so they know there's also this outside spread here. That if you really need to do a large volume of business, okay, you're going to be pushing these prices around, and you're going to smack into here, and then there's going to be gold flows. The gold flows are what keeps the price within bounds. As long as the central banks are able to come up with the gold, the prices will stay within these bounds. So you can see here that this deficit dealer is relying on the backstop of his own domestic central bank. Okay? Let's now kick up the problem to that central bank and say that this has moved us all the way smack here, okay, and the problem is now landing on the balance sheet of the central bank. Okay? What does it look like here? How does the central bank backstop this currency and keep it from falling farther.